y'all doing today?
Great. How are you, Mike?
Good.
All right, Mike, phase 3, y'all in now. What's been kind of the mood you've been in as you get into this phase 3 of this offseason?
Excited. We get to be out there against the defense, working real football, not just routes on there and stuff like that. But just super excited, can't wait for this season. So,
what do you think you've grown the most from obviously coming off your rookie year to now having a full offseason as the guy?
I'll just say it's a couple things, but the one thing that I want to point at is like just connecting with the guys. I feel like I've done a lot better with connecting with everybody around the team, not just offensive guys but defensive guys as well. Whether that's just doing stuff around the facility, eating lunch, or going out playing golf or something with them. Don't ask about my golf game, but yeah, man, just connecting with the guys.
Mike, how would you describe your leadership style?
I like to get to know my teammates. I feel like you can't lead nobody whenever you don't know them. I feel like you got to build relationships, and for me, I want to get to know those guys so I can, know who can take certain leadership styles. If it's like verbal, like right there in the moment, or if it's pull you to the side, like just understanding those guys and just having that relationship built with those guys.
And going off of that, how do you want to grow in that leadership throughout this season as you kind of acclimate to your teammates and what they adapt best to?
Hanging out with them more. That's it. Just hanging out with them more outside of football. So.
How do you build those relationships with your teammates?
Sometimes you gotta get outside of your comfort zone. Some guys might do things that you don't necessarily like to do, and some might. Just finding ways. If it's anything, like I said, golfing, fishing, like whatever those guys like to do, just find those things and be around them.
I know you normally like to stay at home, you just kind of stay to yourself, but is it different moving through this time of the year where you're going to be the guy going into the year and you the biggest name in the city, obviously?
I still be home. I still be home, bro.
How do you grow that camaraderie with your teammates like Darnell when you refuse to listen to his music style?
I don't refuse. It's a little different than mine, but I don't refuse. I'll listen to it, but in the back of my head, I'm probably like, turn it off. But it's cool, though.
Hey, Mike, has there been anybody past or current that you kind of lean on this offseason to kind of help you through the phase you're going through now as being the guy?
Yeah, my teammates, my family. I know Rob mentioned, spoke to Matt Ryan. Had a good conversation with him. Just learning how to be a pro. Each and every day, and how his process went, and how he went about his business each and every day. So I feel like he definitely gave me a lot of good things.
How's your chemistry building with Darnell specifically going?
Oh, it's been great. He's a guy that's willing to work all the time. And I appreciate those type of guys. Always willing to do the extra or hit my phone and say they want to throw. So he's always willing to work. So it's been good and it's been growing. And he's a good dude too. So
what separates him as a receiver?
I say just his ability to get open. He can do a lot of things at that position. It's hard to cover him one-on-one, so anytime we get those opportunities, we got to take advantage of it.
I got another leadership question for you. Is there any quarterback that you kind of model yourself after, leadership-wise, somebody that you admire, their leadership style?
No, not exactly. No, not exactly. Not exactly.
You mentioned the conversation with Matt. What was the premise of that conversation?
Yeah, just learning how to be a pro. Obviously he knows this is my second year. Coming into it, obviously my first year starting, he talked to me about his times during that time and how he got to where he ended up. So just those type of things, building blocks and things that I needed to hear that I probably wouldn't hear from other people, but hearing from somebody that actually was in this position, doing it at a high level. So that was big time.
What stood out to you most about that conversation?
His willingness to be open with me. I feel like he didn't have to give his time to me to talk to me and pour game into me. So just him being open and being present in the conversation, it was definitely a blessing.
And then Mike, Coach Morris knows once you get to that, you're going to the students. Can you just talk about that aspect of the game and just like the mental aspect and part of it?
It takes time. It don't come overnight. It take time. It take a lot of play time. You gotta be in the game to learn a lot of things, and obviously film study, off the field stuff. All that stuff take time, but it grows. You get out of it what you put into it. So.
Like, what do you get out of those two games you played then last year?
You said, what do I?
What do you get out of that? I mean, obviously it was good experience, but is there anything you kind of get out of that?
I just got my feet wet, man. It made me excited, just ready for this year, So.
Was there a different approach this year coming into OTAs than it was last year?
No, the goal always to win. It don't matter, no matter how we do it. I'm part of this team. I was part of this team last year. We want to win, so.
Mike, going into the second year, you got a different voice, obviously, being the guy. What's that communication been like with Zach, man, to say, you know what, I like this stuff, I like that, I don't like this? What's that communication been like with him?
I mean, it's good. Obviously, offensive coordinator, quarterback, y'all got to be on the same page, and, me and Z-Rod, we definitely been on the same page, just picking each other's brain on stuff we like, stuff we don't like, different things we see on the field. So it's been good. It's been growing. Obviously, it's going to continue to get better each and every day. So.